Those of you who were here yesterday already had a little taster of my subject, because I'm one of the writers of the Mindful Heroes book, and the chapter is based on my MSc work. But I'll give you a bit broader view today. My study explores the potential benefits of mindfulness in treating work addiction. The study is connected with a phenomenon which has been titled the addiction of the 21st century. The problem is not minor in today's working life, because it has been estimated that at least every 10th person living in the Western countries is suffering from work addiction. So we are talking about a very complex phenomenon with many negative consequences. Work addiction is usually defined as an addiction characterized by excessive working, causing negative consequences to mental balance, to physical health, and to social life. There are many factors that speed up obsessive work orientation in our culture. The advanced technology, as Susan told us lately, competition, multitasking, etc. Also an old Calvinistic work ethic, seeing sloth as one of our capital sins. But behind this phenomenon can be also intrinsic factors, unsatisfied needs, fears, beliefs, traits, genes, and social learning. What makes work addiction hard to handle is its apparent benefits to employers and in building a career. Work addiction is socially more accepted than other addictions. Workaholics have been called the respectable addicts. It is more challenging to set boundaries to work addiction than it is to fight addictions like gambling or smoking, because we just need to work to make a living. As we already know, mindfulness tackles a wide range of problems, including stress, depression, sleeping problems, and substance abuse. There's a lot of evidence-based research that it is useful also in managing drug addiction, shopping addiction, food addiction, sex addiction, internet addiction, social networking addiction, and gaming addiction. Therefore, there are reasons to assume that mindfulness has an effect on work addiction too. In order to face addictions and to establish a new pattern of behavior, the individual needs to do more than just quit. One must take care of the emotional state underlying maladaptive behavior or avoidance. Mindfulness brings light into our habitual patterns and reveals our inner drivers. It opens up a wide perspective to life and helps us to develop the capacity to see more clearly the things we are attached to. The key aim of my study was to answer the question: how might practicing mindfulness influence a person suffering from work addiction? My key contribution to this field was to combine work addiction and mindfulness using autoethnographic method. In practice, this means that I used my personal experience of work addiction to describe and analyze the combination. Now, autoethnography is quite a rare method. It is a form of qualitative research in which an author uses self-reflection and writing to explore one's personal experience and to connect one's story to wider cultural and social understanding. The data has been collated from personal diaries, from the interview, me being interviewed by myself with the help of a third person, and from the autobiography I wrote some years ago in a writing group. I also wrote a narrative, my story, especially for this piece of research. All this material was analyzed by reading and rereading it in an active way. Using self-reflection and empathizing past experiences and feelings at the same time. One of the assets of the autoethnography is that it offers valuable and insightful knowledge about sensitive topics. The method is especially useful when handling emotions. Nevertheless, the study is, of course, limited because it represents the experience of a single person and uses personal memory as a data source. I'm sorry, the text is very small because of editing these slides. Within my mindfulness studies, I started to meditate regularly. I also included informal practices in my working days. Practicing mindfulness was the catalyst for me to understand why I was feeling as I did. The key themes of work addiction that emerged from my data have been organized and sorted into these mind maps. The analysis reveals that work addiction influenced deeply on my life at many levels, at the level of emotions, thoughts, values and beliefs, physical condition, habitual patterns, and social well-being. On the left, you can see the key emotional themes arising. They were shame, guilt, and worthlessness, which I felt because of my compulsive behavior. Excessive working caused me permanent stress with several negative side effects. In my thoughts, I was constantly at work, afraid of failing to meet my expectations of my parents and my employer. I was always anticipating losing my job, so my survival strategy was to be always at work, either in person or at least in my thoughts. Constant working caused me serious physical problems, which included tension and sleeping problems. I ignored most of my physical needs and worked even when I was ill. My obsessive habitual pattern to complete every task made it difficult for me to finish my working day. I invested more and more time in working. All this made me neglect many things in my social life, including family, friends, hobbies, and my own leisure time. Among my first mindfulness practices was the body scan, which turned out to be my key to recovery. Having been a work addict for almost half my life and neglecting most of my needs, I used to totally ignore my body. At first, my body did not react during the practice at all. However, gradually I started to realize how tired my body was and how much it needed to rest. Step by step, my practices enabled me to understand that I really was addicted. Practicing mindfulness helped me to stop and dig the roots of my addiction into sight. It also helped me to understand that I have a choice on how to treat myself and a right to let go of my toxic beliefs and patterns. Instead of criticizing myself and trying to get rid of my addiction, I started to think about myself compassionately and take better care of myself. On the right, you may see the 4 key themes reflecting the changes in my work-addicted personality after starting my practices. Awakening of the body, inhabiting it, seeing and accepting my addiction, finding self-compassion, and creating a new non-addictive identity. There's a well-known phrase, once an addict, always an addict. As you know, addicted persons sometimes do relapse. Now that I saw my addiction with all its negative consequences, I was afraid of slipping back. Years of fighting with my addiction had been really difficult, and I was ready to do anything to get rid of my old habitual patterns. In this, self-compassion opened a new vision of forgiveness to me and helped me to carry on. Practices assisted me to re-evaluate the role of the work in my life and find practical solutions how to cope with my working day. Accepting my addiction and finding self-compassion helped me to create a new non-addictive identity with better work-life balance to re-evaluate the role of work in my life. My mindfulness toolbox now helps me to notice when my addiction is starting to re-emerge. According to this study, it's important to have both formal and informal practices included in any mindfulness-based work addiction intervention. Regular formal practicing is the underpinning for the non-addictive life and prevents relapsing. Equally important, it is to bring mindfulness into work, to the epicenter of the problem. My study supports the idea that practicing mindfulness and compassion can have a positive impact on one's work addiction. In my case, mindfulness provided a way to stop, listen to my body, analyze my feelings, absorb my habits, revise my values, and shape my life afresh. Thank you for listening.